Have you ever wondered what Harry Potter would be like if it was written by George R.R. Martin? Absolute chaos. So here we go, Harry Potter and the Game of Magic. The sorting. Students are required to pledge their allegiance to one of the 4 houses in a ceremony called the sorting. The sworn oaths to the 4 houses mean little. As allegiances are temporary by nature, Harry would eventually switch to Slytherin before realising the error in his ways, and revert to being a Gryffindor. Neville, on the other hand, would remain brave and true and stick with Gryffindor until the very end, which isn't saying very much because he'd be killed within 15 minutes after his pledge by a marauding gnome. Hermione would change allegiances no less than 72 times throughout the entire series because in the Game of Magic, you play or you die. Harry Potter dies horribly, accomplishing absolutely nothing. George R.R. Martin despises traditional heroes and loves to watch them fail, so of course Harry Potter would be no exception to this rule. Unfortunately for the kid with the scar, he is a traditional hero. Harry would inevitably die in an utterly unheroic manner, such as getting skewered on a trap, ambushed at the time of triumph, or easily murdered by an older, more powerful wizard and cast away. Ron and Ginny would be, well, let's just say, very, very close.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong.
As horrifying and disturbing as this idea is, you have to admit that Martin would definitely go there. Ron and Ginny both feel like the most ignored members of the Weasley family, with being the youngest 2 of 7 children, so they would definitely become closer due in part to cope with their sense of separation from the rest of the family. Looks like Harry might have some competition after all. The women of Hogwarts get naked a bunch of times. George R.R. Martin knows well the mystic power all women possess. Either that or he really likes female nudity. Apply it to Hogwarts and you'll get sexy witches beguiling boys and men alike in their pursuit of power and high grades. Romilda Vane's attempt to trick Harry into dating her in the Half-Blood Prince would likely no longer be because of a love potion hidden in some pumpkin pasties, but something more akin to Romilda waiting for Harry on his bed wearing nothing but a Quidditch scarf. Griphook spends his gold on company of the female persuasion. George R.R. Martin doesn't shy away from the decadence that wealth gives a man. As a successful banker of the magical world, Griphook will have lots of gold to spend on worldly pleasures of all varieties. We will then see what kind of tastes this goblin has, or if his hatred of humans also takes a sexual route. The rise and fall of Draco Malfoy. Thanks mostly to his family's influence in the wizarding world, Draco Malfoy would be sitting on the magic throne, forcing Crabbe and Goyle to fight all his wars for him. It would come to a grisly end, however, when the pair get tired of his superior attitude and disregard for their lives and dismember him from the waist down. Voldemort is a deeply complex and misunderstood character. With George R.R. Martin's treatment of traditional heroes, the reverse is also true for his villains. He lets you see their side of the story, to know their dreams, aspirations, and the cruelties that have befallen them. Often, they once aspired towards noble goals, but the perversions of authority cut them down. Scarred but not beaten, they still fight for what they believe in through the shadows. In George R.R. Martin's world, the line between a hero and a villain is as muddled as a line between truth and lies. It appears that everything is a grey area, so readers might just find themselves siding with Voldemort, because after all, he's only misunderstood. Dumbledore would be manipulative and power-hungry. In J.K. Rowling's version of events, Dumbledore personally admits that he sought power in his youth and was susceptible to corruption, which was why he never took the post of Minister for Magic. He knew he would become drunk on power, so it's not too far of a stretch to imagine that in George R.R. Martin's version, Dumbledore would allow himself to become self-serving and manipulative. He would use the power he has over the school to secretly control the Wizengamot, ensuring that anyone who got in his way would get a one-way ticket to Azkaban. Not to mention, he would likely attempt to use Harry for his own purposes and parlay Harry's fame into his own corner, thus increasing his own power. Dumbledore could have even led Voldemort to kill Harry's parents to begin with, so that he could seize control of the Potter fortune. Death by Quidditch. Quidditch is the most popular sport in the wizarding world. But in George R.R. Martin's version, it would be something less for fun and more for glory, or legally killing your enemies. No longer would the game involve the quaffle, bludgers, or snitch. Instead, the game would be played with lances, swords, and axes. The aim of the game being to either impale or knock your opponents from their brooms until only one player remains. Personal disputes would also be settled with Quidditch during fast-paced slaughterfests. Hogwarts students could dispute punishments and bad grades in trial by combat. Who knows, Malfoy might even win a game then, as long as he laced his sword with poison. Muggleborns fight back. Muggleborns would have even less rights and be treated as lower-class citizens by the wizarding community at large. They are deprived of everything save from the most basic of magical education and resources, winding up in jobs that are barely more than slavery. Dumbledore would be attempting to buy their loyalty by teaching them greater magic in secret and falsifying their lineage, thanks to his power within the Wizengamot, setting himself up as a cultural hero. Eventually, this would culminate in a Muggleborn uprising, during which Hermione would betray her friends in order to further the status of her Muggleborn comrades. Voldemort would then be further motivated for domination by the rising power of the Muggleborn movement. The Aurors would be in a secret order. The Aurors would be something akin to a knightly order controlled by Dumbledore, with his rising power of the Wizengamot. The order would be strictly secretive, and would control the magical secrets of the wizarding world, controlling the Department of Mysteries, and would be bound by a strict code of honor. They would vow to destroy the Death Eaters, who would be in a sworn brotherhood, who would be trying to steal the secrets from the Aurors to control the wizarding world. And of course, not to mention that the entire series would have taken about 50 years to write. So there you go. Harry Potter has put through the grinder that is George R.R. Martin's artistic vision.